Turning Point 2025, which aired on a very awkward day. It aired on Friday, the same night as SmackDown, which was crazy because like like WWE talent, NXT talent was on the show, and it basically went head to head with Friday Night SmackDown. Weird, but it's your boy Icon with another wrestling review for you, coming back for some wrestling. And before we get started, hit that notification bell, like and subscribe to my channel. Check out my previous reviews for wrestling, as I'm still waiting to review some other stuff like on my YouTube channel. You know, we'll talk about that in a minute. But right now, let's talk about a little wrestling and some Turning Point or TNA. So we had a pre-show match. And when I saw the participants involved, I realized why this was a pre-show match. It was Jake something or other versus Mance Warner versus the Hometown Man. And when they said the Hometown Man, I was waiting for them to then say his name. And then I realized his name was the Hometown Man. Yeah. I believe Jake something won this match. Why is his name Jake something? This is the weirdest collection. I mean, it's like I'm the one that's just like, I miss pre-show matches. Why can't we get pre-show matches? We finally get a pre-show match, and this is what we get. So that's what I get. But anyway, Jake something or other, he won the pre-show match, and then we moved on to the main card of Turning Point, which actually started with knockouts action, like the the TNA Knockouts Championship. My baby Kalani Jordan versus M by Elegance. That was her name. 'Cause the other one, no, it was Ash. It was Ash, Heather, and M. So I'm getting that now. And they need to bring somebody in, because the Elegance brand gimmick is actually, like a good idea. It works. There's a place for it, but the problem is, what is it? M and not Ash. Heather. M and Heather. They don't have the star power to bring that group to fruition. So, I mean, whether it's like, I don't know, like a Mandy Rose, or hell, they can bring back an Eva Marie. Somebody needs to be brought in to lead that group. Because the concierge is like, he's funny. Like, the girls as a tag team, like, they're good. But like I said, they don't have the star power to carry like the one-on-one thing. But then and then it was weird because, like I said, Kalani Jordan, because she fought Heather on Impact, and then now she's fighting M at the pay-per-view. And it was weird because before the show started, she had a little like backstage thing where she bumped into like Mara Sade, Zhang Li, and Zaya Brookside. She was talking to the three of them. They were basically trying to like be cool with her, and she was just like, bitches, y'all want what I got and y'all can't have it. So she's kind of playing the heel role. Like, she's like the nice girl turned bad. She's angry now, and she's trying to like, put some respect on her name. But because she was going up against the Elegance brand, she had to come across as like the face in this situation. And then she was coming out like smiling, like shaking hands with the crowd. I think like her parents were in the front row. Like, she kissed like some dude and some lady. I don't know, maybe like her parents or something. But she was basically playing the face role. Like, she was the good guy like in this equation, which was weird because all of her character work, is basically just her being a heel, like her being a little snarky, and it was a good match. Like, the girl can't wrestle, like the M by Elegance girl can't wrestle, but she was going up against one of the best in Kalani Jordan, and in the end that she was able to, get the one of a kind spring-legged moonsault that she kind of stole from Naomi, but they say RVD, and Kalani Jordan, she retains, and she's still the TNA Knockouts heavyweight champion. And then in the back, like again, like they were talking to Mara Sade, and then Mara said that she's got her eye on Kalani Jordan. And then Ryan Nemeth came and was talking shit and said, "Why is her hair always wet?" And then like she cursed him out. But that's the matchup that I want to see. Like, ultimately, because Kalani Jordan, she's an NXT superstar and she can't keep the belt forever. So ultimately, she's going to have to lose the title to a TNA person. And it needs to be Mara Sade, because out of all the girls, that's aside from like Tessa Blanchard and maybe like Victoria Crawford, Mara Sade is the only person on their roster right now that has the star power to carry that women's division like into the future. So I hope that's going to be the end result, but we'll see what happens. But good on Kalani Jordan for retaining the Knockouts Championship, and we're moving on to the next match. Then it was a match that confused me. Some guy named BDE, who apparently has a lot of social media followers, and he's now training to become a wrestler. He went up against AJ Francis, and it's all about that money. And it's like he stole that from Crime Time, like the money. Yeah, yeah. He just says money 3 times, but the guy, basically the storyline is the guy's like a social media person, and he's trying to get into professional wrestling, and he went up against AJ Francis. Like, they beat him up on Impact or whatever, so now he's trying to like prove that he belongs in a wrestling ring, and AJ Francis basically beat his ass as he should. He beat his ass. He hit him with the choke slam, with the money down choke slam or something to that effect, something that he calls it. I would like to see AJ Francis actually do something significant, because he has the first class crew. They just brought some girl in. They look good. I mean, the BDE guy, like he actually has good moves. He's basically he could honestly be like their Javon Evans, if he wanted to. He just needs more seasoning. They only put him on TV because like he has a lot of followers, needs a social media following, but he's still young, so he wasn't gonna like break through, like in his first match, especially not somebody, because the size difference was like ridiculous. But I said, but at this point, like I said, I'd like to see AJ Francis actually do something like of significance, maybe beat Leon Slater for the X Division Championship, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, but AJ got the victory, and we're moving on. Then we had basically a hardcore match, indie hardcore wrestling versus Danny Luna, and I'm to an extent, like, and I just said Mara Sade needs to be the person to take the belt off of Kalani Jordan, and I still feel that way. I still feel like she's the girl, like she's the one to take that belt off her. But I'm gonna be honest, because when I said like Victoria Crawford and Tessa Blanchard, I forgot all about Indy Hartwell, and I feel like I don't want to say TNA's like wasting her talent, but she should be featured more than she is as well. Like Indy Hartwell, Mara Sade, even Victoria Crawford, and Tessa Blanchard, despite how the fans feel about her. Like, those are the four that should be, those are the four women that basically should be fighting with Kalani Jordan. Like, those are the four women that should be involved in, like the Knockouts heavyweight title picture. Because, like I said, they're the ones with the look. They got the star power, like they got the moves, whatever. And they got Indy Hartwell basically doing like garbage matches with like random girls, And because like the girls that she's like, Danny Luna, like she's not a star yet. Like she's not like she's for lack of a better term, she comes across as an enhancement talent. But this isn't the enhancement that because like Indy Hartwell, she's been on the independent scene, like she's been winning championships, like she's been wrestling people, like she's actually been doing stuff like. To be at a pay-per-view having a random hardcore match. And then it would be one thing if Danny Luna beat her, and then, Danny Luna can make a name for herself off of like an Indy Hartwell, but that didn't even happen either. So, but I just felt like it was like a kind of just a way to get Indy Hartwell on the show, but she did win, and she's still putting her thumb up, which I don't like. But like I said, she won a hardcore match, so hopefully now that she got a victory, maybe she'll come out on Thursday and she'll say that, with her victory, she feels like she's the number one contender and she deserves another shot, and then somebody will come and challenge her, and then we can get something cooking in this women's division. Knockouts tag team action was up next. The Angel Warriors of Lang Lee and Zaya Brookside versus The Inspiration versus what was supposed to be Victoria Crawford and Tessa Blanchard. And for the love of God, I mean, like, my heart goes out to Victoria Crawford. She honestly should be in a bigger position than she's in right now. And I hate the fact that they only got her teaming up with Tessa Blanchard to do damage control for the black people. It's very entertaining. Like, when you go back and watch this match, when you watch the introductions, just watch Victoria Crawford during these introductions. Like, just watch her off-camera motions and everything, and then with the Inspiration, when they come in, they're all like being goofy and playing off with each other, which is very which is funny. But at the same time, I know Victoria Crawford can be a serious, threatening character, and I would like to see that. I would like to see that from her. Tessa Blanchard grabbed the microphone and said that as soon as she grabbed the microphone, she got booed, and then she said that she's not medically cleared to compete, and then everybody cheered. I mean, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But at the same time, you don't cheer somebody that's like hurt, because even if she's not really hurt, like in storyline, let's say like in storyline, the only reason why she said she was injured was so they can get the new girl onto the show. But we're going under the assumption that this shit is real. So if she really is hurt and she's really not medical cleared, that's not something you cheer. Like, I'm just saying. But they brought out, but because she couldn't compete, There was this new girl. She did a promo on Impact Thursday where she was basically saying that she got a tryout. She was like working out with somebody, and then the person she was with got signed. She had a tryout. They never called her, and then all of a sudden they called her and they said, "We want you to be a part of TNA." And instead of her saying like, "Thank you so much, I appreciate the opportunity," she was like, "Why the hell did it take y'all so long to call my ass?" So so she came out, and when she came out, I was just like, okay, she's a little thin, but I mean she does have a good look. She's a little thin, but she's not blonde. So like I don't know what her character is yet. Like I don't know who she's supposed to be. Like I don't know who she is as a person yet. I said she has a good look, she's snarky. Obviously she's a heel. She's somewhat of a bitch. And I just have to see more of her before, I'm just glad she wasn't blonde. But they didn't win. The Inspiration retained their Knockouts Tag Team Championships, which was very happy, because the thing is, we're gonna need more tag teams, and I wish Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, I wish they went to TNA instead of AEW, because the women's tag team division would have served them better on TNA. But we need more tag teams because they can't just keep fighting the Elegance brand, and the Shanghai Princesses or whatever the hell they're calling themselves. They're not ready or at the point where they're ready for like the women's tag team championship. But they need more teams. Like they definitely need more teams. So if we can bring some more girls in to form like actual tag teams, not just makeshift tag teams, like that would be pretty cool. Like I said, but the Inspiration, they retained, they reigned supreme. Good for them because it was iconic. Mustafa Ali and Order 4 was a six-man tag against Cedric Alexander and the Hardys. The North Carolina Boys versus the Order 4. Mustafa Ali needs to be the TNA heavyweight champion, because the group is like, they had an opportunity to break up the group where he was basically berating Tasha Steelz, and one of the white guys was like, "Nah, bro, like that's not cool." They had beef, they fought, and then they got back together. If we're going to come back together, and if we're going to be a strong team, if we're going to be united, if it's going to be Order 4 for life, he needs to win that damn belt. He needs to win the belt to solidify this group and to make this group interesting. The Hardys came out, Cedric came out, and they basically got beat up. And the North Carolina Boys lost this match. Order 4 reigned supreme. Tasha Steelz, like, she got involved as always. And like I said, it's just, what is the group doing? Like, what are they doing? They have something here, and they need to capitalize on it. Like, no disrespect to the Hard, but it's like, at least let the other two guys, like, let the other two guys be the tag. Let them beat the Hardys for the tag team championships. Like, they had Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali should have had a feud over the X Division championship. Like, so I don't know, something significant needs to happen with him, because I like the group, but I feel like they could do better. Like, I feel like there's another gear that they could go to. But like I said, but they won this one. They got a victory over the vets, like over the old vets. And, we'll see what becomes of Order 4 on TNA Impact. The next matchup confused me. It was the System versus the Rascals. Why? Yes, JDC, he said he's going to retire soon. His reasoning for retiring is basically because he's old. I get it that Desmond Xavier, I didn't even know that was his real name. I knew he was with the Rascals in TNA before they split up and he came to NXT. I swear to, like, back then I didn't even know his name was like Desmond Xavier. I thought his name was always Wesley. So the artist formerly known as Wesley, he's back in TNA, and I remember when he made that line when he told, I forgot who he was talking. No, he told one of the guys in the Rascals, he was like, "You're a TNA wrestler, and I'm an NXT superstar. Now you're back to being a TNA wrestler." So anyway, the Rascals got back together. There's 4 of them. Wesley is back, and I understand that. Okay, he cut his hair. He got rid of the locks when he was in NXT. He had like the afro. It is possible, because he had like an afro, it wasn't like a small afro, he did have a big afro. It is possible that he could have just relocked that afro, retwisted that afro to regrow his hair. Ain't no way in hell that shit grew that fast. Like, the way he cut his hair, it should have been like down to his ear or something. His goddamn hair was like down it, like past his chin. I was like, ain't no way in hell his hair grew that fast. So there has to be extensions. He has to have extensions put. Like, he had to have locked his actual hair and then put extensions in to, like, to further the growth, because he ain't been out of NXT that long for his hair to grow that long. That shit was crazy. But But it said, but because it was a good match. Like it's like I don't want to like shit on the match. The match was good, but the problem was you basically got four faces that are like old versus four faces that are like young and up and coming. And I'm like, there was no, aside from good moves, athletic moves, there was no sizzle to the match. Like there was no like threat, there was no anger, like there was no confrontation. It was just like, hey, you're good, we're good, let's just see what happens. And then Moose was like 5 feet taller than everybody in this match, and it just didn't look right. Like it just didn't look right. And Eddie Edwards, he got big. He got big. And the Rascals won, so I guess the system is passing the torch. And didn't the system have a whole thing where they were like mad at each other for losing all these matches? And I'm just like, what now? I don't know. But what I took from it is Wesley is back. And there's like 4 of them, so who's going to go for Tag Gold? Who's going to go for X Division? Who's going to go for the Heavyweight Championship? But whatever. Whatever. It was nice to see Moose, although I don't think he speared anybody. Yeah, we'll see what they do with the Rascals and what happens with the system going forward. Next up was the X Division Championship, Leon Slater versus Rich Swann. And compared to Rich Swann, Leon Slater looks like Lex Luger. It was crazy how much bigger Leon Slater looks compared to Rich Swann, and Leon Slater's a small guy. And, they put on a good match. It was a solid match, nothing to complain about. Leon Slater, he retained the X Division Championship. And then they did a tribute to his grandmother who passed away. So, kudos to them for that, because that was nice to see. And then he just talked about how him and, the young OG were going to win the tag team championships. And when he said that, I thought Dark State was going to come up and beat his ass. But Dark State didn't show up. He didn't get his ass beat. And that was pretty much it. Like, again, like even like there was no controversy to this match, because even when it was over, Rich Swann even shook his hand, like he gave him his respect and like walked away. So they said Leon Slater's like 17-0 or something since he became X Division champion. Like between NXT and TNA, like he hasn't lost a match yet, which is actually kind of a cool stat. Like can't complain about that. But yeah, nah, it was cool. It was called X Division Action, and we're moving on to something else. And finally was the main event. It was Frankie Kazarian who won the TNA Heavyweight Championship off of Mike Santana. He teamed up with Nick Nemeth, the artist formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, because he basically had his version of a Money in the Bank briefcase. And on Thursday, some NXT wrestlers, specific, and not NXT, because they're just like, oh, NXT invaded. It was specific NXT wrestlers. It was like High Rise. It was the manager dude. I forgot his name. There was Charlie Dempsey. It was Lexus King. It was just like it was a bunch of it almost seemed like these are the people that currently aren't being used in NXT, so they just brought them over here and they just like ran roughshod and just started whooping everybody ass in TNA, and they were trying to make it seem like, oh, it was an invasion, but I'm like, no, it's specifically like 7 people. And the rest of NXT wasn't even involved with this. Ava said she had nothing to do with this. Shawn Michaels tweeted he had nothing to do with this. But they basically beat the shit out of Mike Santana. And then after they beat his ass, then Frankie Kazarian came in. He cashed in his Money in the Bank trophy, and he pinned Mike Santana, and he won the championship. So Mike Santana didn't even get a chance to defend the damn belt after he just won it at Bound for Glory. So I thought he was like hurt for real. I thought he legitimately got injured, and because of that, that was their way of getting the title off him. So he was supposed to be in a tag match with Steve Macklin to fight Kazarian and to fight Nemeth. But because he got his ass whooped on Thursday, nobody heard from Mike Santana and he didn't show up. So Macklin was going to have to let go it alone. So Macklin shows up. He shows up by himself. The tag match starts. Nick Nemeth told Kazarian to his face, he said, after we win this 2-on-1 handicap match, I'm cashing in my opportunity and I'm going to beat you for the championship. So he had that looming, but the two of them were supposed to be a team. His brother was there being an asshole, and then Mara Sade came and like super kicked him to get her revenge for what happened earlier. And then Mike Santana pulls up in the parking lot in jeans with his arm taped up, and he goes into the ring. He tags in the match, and then he ends up having the match. So now I'm confused because I thought this man, so he's not legitimately injured. He doesn't have an injury that forced him to vacate the championship. They just chose to take the belt off him. And why would you have him win the championship and then immediately take the belt off him? Like, I'm confused. I'm very confused about that. So Santana and Macklin win the match. And then after they win the match, Nick Nemeth decides, he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna cash in my trophy and get Kazarian while he's down, because everybody thought, like, the word on the street was Frankie Kazarian hired those NXT wrestlers to beat up Mike Santana so he can cash in on him. And then everybody was just like, no, he's a TNA guy, he wouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And then the NXT guy showed up again, and then they started whooping everybody's ass. So, and then they were beating up everybody except Frankie Kazarian. And then they just ended up beating up Frankie Kazarian. So I don't know if they did that. So let's say it is a ruse and Frankie Kazarian is really behind all this. Then I'm just going to assume he paid them to beat his ass to make it look good. So they beat his ass to, like, the whole point was he paid them to jump in and to beat his ass to stop Nick Nemeth from cashing in on him. Once he saw Nick Nemeth was going to cash in on him, that's when he told his boys to come in. But he's like, but y'all got to fuck me up, because if y'all don't beat me up, then, you know, like, people are going to know that I paid y'all. That's my theory on the whole matter. So they beat him up too. So they're whooping up Mike Santana. They're beating up everybody else, like Macklin, everybody. They're getting their ass whooped by NXT. It took security 50 years to show up. The Hardys showed up at one point to try to help. They got their ass beat. And the whole time they getting their ass beat, the whole time the Hardys are getting beat up. Mike Santana, Steve Macklin, like Nick Nemeth, like everybody getting beat up. The whole time they're getting beat up. My whole thing is, where the hell is the system? What happened to the Rascals? Y'all was all in the ring, shaking hands, kissing babies, hugging each other, putting your hand up like, yeah, we're the good guys, and we had a good 4-on-4 match for wrestling. Why are you not here? Like, why? Like, the 8 of y'all together could have turned the tide on this whole thing. Where was the system, and where were the Rascals? The fact that none of them came out, and the Hardys' old asses came out and got their brains beaten, I was like, that's just crazy. But that's how the show went off the air. That was how the show went off the air. And thank you for tuning in. So we didn't get a championship match. Okay, fine. Like, say la vie, not a big deal. But, I mean, it was a good show, but the thing is, it wasn't a pay-per-view to me. It was like, this felt like the TNA version of Saturday night's main event. And it came on a random Friday, which made it weird too. The Kalani Jordan match for me was like the highlight of the show, and then once she was gone, I was just like, yeah, hopefully something else cool happens. But like I said, it was a Saturday night's main event level show. It was still a good show overall, and I do look forward to seeing what other people do and how the storylines progress. But that was my review for TNA Turning Point, and I thank you for watching my review. So check out my other reviews for wrestling. I also, Fantastic Four is on Disney Plus, so I'm going to watch and review the Fantastic Four. I had no interest whatsoever in watching it in the theater, and we'll see if my mind gets changed when I watch it on Disney Plus. Like I said, check me out on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, where you can leave your questions, comments, and concerns, and we'll roll on for some more wrestling here on Red Eyes Entertainment. So that was it, guys, so thanks for tuning in. Until next time for some more TNA action, we're turning points all over the place, and we're out this bitch!